Yes, people, so another Premier League weekend is here. Another weekend of Premier League football is on the way. And I'm going to be giving you my matchday prediction, what I think will happen during every game that will be played on the weekend, scoreline, certain kind of events that I think will happen, goal scores as well. I'm going to be giving it to you all today in this video as well. So before we move forward as well, make sure to hit subscribe. I'm going to be giving out lots of content related to football with Tottenham, lots of things that will be coming your way, so let's get into it. So first of all, we're going to start off with the early kickoff game, Manchester City versus Everton. I think this is going to be a win for City. Obviously Everton have, ever since they got the point deduction, they have improved a lot under Sean Dyche. Ever since they're deducted 10 points, you know, they went on a little run where they won a couple of games. They're looking very good, really hard to beat down. But after that, I think after December, they kind of slowed down a bit. They started kind of just lose their form and everything. But however, Everton are a very tricky team. They did get a draw against Tottenham last week as well. So they're a tricky team. They're hard to beat. They're very good defensively, very tight, robust. And we all know how Sean Dyche will want to play. You know, sit back and hit City on the break, hit back, long ball. That's how they're going to play. So even though Everton, they're really good defensively, it is Manchester City we're talking about at the end of the day. And I think they should comfortably win this game, especially they're at home as well. So I think they should have really no problems dealing with this Everton team. So I'm going to go with 3-1 to Manchester City. So the first match at Man City Everton, I'm going to go 3-1 Man City. The second game we have here today is Wolves versus Brentford. I feel like this is a very close game. Both teams I feel like are relatively on the same level. You know, especially Brentford as well. They'll be boosted by this game as well, mainly because of the fact that Ivan Toney is back for them. Ivan Toney's back for them, you know, and he's gotten 2 goals as well. He's gotten 2 goals in his last 3 starts. So it's very positive for Brentford. And ever since Toney's come back as well, he's kind of helped to revitalize the club again, kind of start to get everyone into form again. You know, Neil Mopey's always scoring as well. So Brentford, I feel like they're also a very tough team as well, very hard to break down, very strong at the back, you know. However, Wolves, I feel like are just a better team in terms of quality. I feel like, you know, Pedro Neto, Wang is also back as well, Mateusz Cunha as well. They're very good. They have very good attacking players, Wolves, and I think their manager as well, Gary O'Neill, he's drilled a very good style of football into them. You know, very attack-minded style of play that Wolves are playing. They like to press teams, like to attack teams as well. However, the one weakness with Wolves is that, like, when they're getting counter-attacked on, their defensive side is not really that good. You know, they looked all over the place defensively, especially against Manchester United. So hence why they kind of lost the game, because their defensive side really cost them. So will Brentford take advantage of that? I think they could. I think Brentford could take advantage of that, and because of that, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 to Brentford. I'm gonna go a 2-1 for Brentford, mainly because Wolves' weak side defensively is gonna expose, and I think Brentford, a team that love to hit on the counter attack, are gonna expose that part, and because of that, I think they're gonna score. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Brentford. Next match, Fulham Bournemouth. I'm gonna go for a 0-0. I'm just gonna go straight out 0-0 draw. To be fair, I really don't see anything happening in this game. I know Bournemouth have had a decent season themselves. You know, Fulham are Fulham. They're not going to really do much, but Bournemouth themselves have had a decent season. However, I think this game just has 0-0 written all over it. So I'm not going to bother too much with this one. I'm just going to go straight 0-0. Tottenham Brighton. Obviously, Tottenham last week, they drew against Everton, and Brighton are really, really terrible when it comes to defending. So I feel like this game has goals in them. You know, Tottenham as well, they like to leak a lot of goals here and there as well, and Brighton are terrible defensively. We saw in the first game as well, early in the season as well, that Tottenham lost 4-2 to Brighton, so there's clearly going to be goals in this game. So if you're a neutral, I'd definitely watch this game, because there's going to be goals. If you just want goals, I'd watch Tottenham versus Brighton if I were you, a neutral, because both teams, especially Brighton, they're terrible defensively. Tottenham are better defensively, but like they do leak a lot of goals. However, I think this time Tottenham will get their revenge. I think they're gonna be at home. They're gonna have a lot of key players back as well. You know, Bissouma's back from the AFCON, Sarr is back, Son is now back from the Asian Cup as well. So basically, Tottenham are gonna have their whole squad. Madison's back, Romero, Van de Ven, everyone's back for Tottenham now. So they're gonna have their full squad, and I think because of that, I think they're just gonna outpower Brighton. I feel like they're gonna completely outpower Brighton, because just the fact that they're a full squad now, and Brighton still obviously can't defend. So I think there's gonna be goals for both teams. So I'm gonna go 4-1 to Tottenham. 4-1 Tottenham Hotspur. So moving on, we have Luton versus Sheffield United. This is a relegation battle, I guess you could say. You know, the bottom. I think Luton are at the relegation zone now. Let me check real quick. Yes. So Luton are at the relegation zone by, I think, goal difference. No, they're ahead by Everton by 1 point. Okay. So Luton obviously with their draw against Newcastle last week, they're out the relegation zone by 1 point. And again, I have to say I've been really impressed with Luton so far this season. You know, coming into the season, I think everyone wrote Luton off. You know, they said Luton would probably be like bottom of the table. They'd have like the worst points record in Premier League history. All that kind of stuff were being said to Luton. However, I have to give credit to Rob Edwards. You know, he's done a really good job at Luton. You know, he's got them playing a decent style of football. Very tight, very hard to break down, very robust at the back as well. And especially their home form as well. You know, Luton at home have been really good. You know, their home support is really good. And because of that, they've been winning games at home. So this game as well, they're also at home and against Sheffield United. So I think this one, I think Luton will win. I'm going to go 1-0 Luton. 1-0 Luton. They'll keep a clean sheet. And because they're at home, I think the home crowd will help them get it over the line. So 1-0 Luton. I think Sheffield United, I think they're just gone. I think they're just waiting to be relegated because they're terrible. Let's be serious. Sheffield United are terrible. But I'm going to go 1-0 Luton. And they're going to continue to be far away from the relegation zone. The next game on the Saturday, the second last game we have on Saturday is Liverpool-Burnley. This one, straightforward, I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool. I think, you know, Burnley, I think there's another team that's going down as well. I know, although I like Vincent Kompany, I don't think he's going to keep them up. I don't think that Burnley team has enough to stay up in the Premier League. And Liverpool, I think this should be an easy win for Liverpool, especially, you know, after they lost to Arsenal last weekend. I think they're going to want to get the form going again. They're going to want to take revenge. And I think this is where they're going to start to go on a bit of a run, Liverpool. So I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool. They're at Anfield as well. So yeah, 3-0 Liverpool. And the final game of the Saturday, I'm going to go, it's Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle. This is a pretty decent game. Newcastle, since the start of the year, they have started to kind of turn it around, you know. The first half of the season, they're really poor, Newcastle. But you could say that because they had a huge injury crisis. But their players have started coming back and they have started turning the tide a bit. So, and Nottingham Forest as well, they've also started to turn the ship around as well, you know. Ever since Nuno came in, took over as manager, they have started to change their fortunes. So I feel like this is going to be another tough game, but I'm going to go for a draw. I think this game has a draw written all over it. Obviously, at St. James's, Nottingham Forest absolutely beat Newcastle as well 3-1. So I think this one has a draw written all over. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. So moving on to the Sunday games now. The first game on the Sunday we have is West Ham versus Arsenal. Now, this is a pretty decent game. Obviously, this is the third time Arsenal are playing West Ham this season. And the previous two times they did play, they actually lost both of the games. You know, one in the Carabao Cup, one in the league. So Arsenal really, what I see about Arsenal is that they really struggle to break down teams that just sit back and defend. West Ham is that team as well, you know. We all know how David Moyes plays. Goes, sit back, park the bus, defend, hit on the break, long ball, or score from a set piece. That's how they're going to play West Ham, and they're not going to change that for this game especially. Obviously, going into the game, Arsenal are going to have a lot of the possession. A lot of their players are fit as well. They're coming off of a massive win against Liverpool, so they're going to be excited for it. They're going to be up for the game. They're going to be up for it. They just beat Liverpool last week as well. And they feel that they're still in the title race, Arsenal. And because of that, they're going to be up for it. However, I think the same old problems are going to come back to haunt Arsenal again. The same problems that they struggle to break down teams that just sit back and defend. They struggle to score against them. And I think, again, West Ham will get another win over Arsenal. So with this game, I'm going to go with a 1-0 to West Ham. I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham. Arsenal are going to have, obviously, the majority of the chances, majority of the possession, everything in West Ham. They're probably going to score off some corner. I could probably see it coming. They're probably going to score off of a corner. Not to mention Arsenal are terrible in defending set pieces as well. So I think West Ham will probably take advantage of that, especially the height advantage as well they have over Arsenal. They have a lot of big men in there, you know, players like Souček, Ogbonna, a lot of tall players as well. They're going to take advantage from set pieces. So I'm going to go 1-0 to West Ham. I think West Ham will get another win over Arsenal, and I think Arsenal fans will be brought back to reality. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 to West Ham for that game. Now, moving on to probably the biggest game of the weekend. Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Again, it's a big game, biggest game of the weekend. And going into this game, Aston Villa are obviously on good form. Both the teams are actually in pretty decent form. United are, I feel like I'm still not too convinced with United personally. I think that yes, you know, they won against Wolves, they won against West Ham, but both the games they're terrible. If you actually watch the games, both of the games, United were terrible. The fact that the goals they scored against Wolves were literally because of Wolves' own downfall. However, most of the game for Wolves, they'll be completely dominated. They're dominated for the whole game. United were sitting back, defending, and they only scored because of the counterattack, and Wolves were terrible at the back defensively. And against West Ham as well, it was the same case. West Ham was mainly dominating the whole game. They had a majority of the chances, majority of the possession, everything they had. And United just hit on the break. So I feel like this game is going to be a bit tougher because Aston Villa are a team that has better quality. So if they have the same chances that, you know, West Ham did, the same chances that Wolves did, they're going to take advantage of it. And because of that as well, obviously in the first game at Old Trafford, obviously Aston Villa were 2-0 up. Aston Villa were 2-0 up at halftime. However, they ended up bottling it and losing 3-2. And people were saying that was a good performance. It really wasn't. It really wasn't if you watch the game, because Aston Villa, for some reason, after the second, when they came into the second half, they stopped pressing. They stopped putting pressure on the ball, and they just decided to sit back and defend, but in a high line for some reason. So I feel like Aston Villa really caused their own downfall in that game. And I think this time Unai Emery has learned from that mistake. I feel like he's learned that, like, all right, okay, for the full 90, we're going to put pressure on the ball. We're not going to sit back. We're going to put pressure on the ball. We're really going to pressure this United team because they're there to get at. This United team I'm still not convinced with. And I think Unai Emery will look at it. And not to mention as well, Aston Villa have one of the best home records in the league as well. So I think their home form will continue. And I think that's going to carry them into a win. I think we could see a big win over here for Aston Villa. So I'm going to go with a 3-0 to Aston Villa. 3-0 Aston Villa. United back in the mud. And the final game, Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Again, Chelsea have been terrible this season. Let's be serious. Like, against the bigger teams, against teams that could actually play a bit of football, they've been terrible. We saw it against Wolves, we saw it against Liverpool, they've been terrible. However, they've just come off of a massive win in the FA Cup, beating Aston Villa, which is not an easy task. And I think they're going to carry that momentum into this game as well. And again, I feel like it's going to be another scrappy game from Chelsea. Another scrappy game. They're going to give away a silly goal. They're maybe going to score off of a penalty. And it's going to be a very scrappy game, very cagey game. And I think Chelsea are just about going to win this. Just about. I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. 2-1 Chelsea. They're going to just about win this game. Maybe off of like a Cole Palmer penalty in the 90th minute. But yeah, 2-1 Chelsea, just about winning the game. So guys, there is my matchday 24 prediction. A lot of big games in there, a lot of exciting games as well in there. I can't wait to see how they all pan out on the weekend. And let's see if I get some predictions right. You know, I think I should maybe get like 1 or 2 right. Let's hope I do get some of them right. But again, yeah, let's see what happens on the weekend. A lot of big games I'm looking forward to. Aston Villa and Manchester United especially is a game I'm really looking forward to. And obviously Tottenham Brighton is a game obviously I have to watch because it's Tottenham. But again, yeah, we'll see what happens on the weekend. And if you enjoyed the content today, make sure to hit like, comment as well if you feel like I got maybe some prediction wrong. Maybe if you don't agree with the prediction, let me know in the comments as well. And I'd love to see what you think as well. So again, subscribe, like, we'll see you next time. All right, take care.